Good morning, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Find Your Model Health, the official podcast of Shemaine's Model Health for those looking to optimize their long-term health and weight goals. I am Shemaine Linney. I am your host. I'm a fitness and nutrition expert, biohacker, and certified iridologist, and I'm very happy to have you back with me. I hope you're enjoying the first week of December. I can't complain myself. It's been pretty good. Haven't put up my decorations yet, but I'm planning to do it before this week is out and get it over with. So this week's podcast, we are looking at strategic eating for the holidays. I did a couple of podcasts 2 years ago. I thought it was last year, but when I looked it up, it was 2 years ago on strategic eating, surviving the holidays for your goals, and 5 tips for managing stress over Christmas. But I felt it was time that we refresh all of that and do a new one. So that is today's podcast. And actually, I was asked by a client who was a bit concerned about the holidays on Saturday, like, what way do we eat? What do we do? I don't want to ruin my results, and the usual stuff most people usually ask, and it is a concern around this time of the year. But I always say, don't panic, don't stress. We can totally get through this. Straight away, though, I'm going to say, most people think that they gain more than they actually do over Christmas, which is not true. On average, most people over like the 2-week span of Christmas and New Year's might gain 3 to 4 pounds, if even. But in people's heads, they're gaining like 12 pounds, 14 pounds a stone, which is not actually true. For you to gain that much weight, you would have to be consuming a lot of calories daily across each day and not getting any movement in whatsoever. Now, that's not to say that some people aren't doing that, but in the circle that I kind of run in and the people I work with, it's highly unlikely that that would even happen. And if you do step on the scales after that 2 week, and it does say that maybe you're up 7 or 8 pounds, you have to remember that a lot of that, half of it even, is going to be fluid retention and inflammation, depending on what you had over Christmas, how much chocolate you had, how much alcohol you had. So it's not all going to be body fat, and that's important to remember, because that kind of takes a bit of stress away. Like, okay, a lot of people will say, I'm okay with like enjoying Christmas and having my fun and putting on maybe 3 or 4 pounds. It's not a big deal, especially my clients. They're like, that's not too much of a big deal, because I do know how to get that off pretty effectively and pretty fast. So just remembering that it's not going to be as bad as you think it is going to be. Now, when we look at the holidays, most of us have already started kind of indulging in the holidays already, even though December has just started. I've had some clients go to Christmas parties already, Christmas lunches, family dinners, family visits from out of town. And so there is stuff happening already. And of course, the Christmas shopping. When you go Christmas shopping, when they have the scents of hot chocolate and gingerbread infused into the air conditioning, which they do. I swear to God, they do that to entice you to actually go and buy stuff. It's understandable that people can maybe pick at some things when they're out shopping. So maybe that cookie or have lunch out. And so anyway, that all is already started. So let's kind of nip the strategies, or nip that in the bud with the strategies we can use now and start implementing everything now, so things don't get out of control. Because if things start getting out of control now at the start of December, chances are that by the start of January, yes, you will be up to 12 pounds or 14 pounds of body fat. If we can contain it to that week or two around Christmas, though, where we're extra indulging, then we won't see that big increase in the weight gain. So when specifically when I'm looking at my clients and how I teach and how I practice my own lifestyle, generally we're picking and choosing our battles. Most of us have one refeed day a week. Some, depending on maintenance, depending on their activity, their lifestyle, maybe have 1.5 or 2 refeeds a week, which is very individual, but most of us are having one refeed a week. So we want to consider, well, how is my week looking now? Okay, so Friday I might have a Christmas party. Saturday is family time. Sunday I have dinner at the parents' house. So, okay, we don't want to be rude. We don't want to miss out on the festivities, but we also don't want to forget our health and our goals and the goals that we have set for ourselves. And a lot of my clients at this stage of the year are very aware, they're very intuitive in what affects their body, what makes them feel gross, what inflames them, what causes sleep issues in regards to food. So they are naturally going to be making those better choices, but we are only human, so some of us are going to indulge a bit more, and that's okay. So if you have stuff like that coming up, it is wiser, or it could be wiser for you, rather than having one big refeed day, to split that refeed day across maybe 3 days. So you're having one refeed meal each day. Now, during that day, and taking into consideration that when you eat a really clean nutritional diet, the way I teach and the way my clients teach, and they maybe are used to fasting a lot and their stomach has shrunk because they have adapted to fasting, that maybe you can't actually eat that much during the day if you have had a big refeed the evening before either, and that is not uncommon. And of course, it does depend on the individual and how driven they are, how important their goals are to them. So if somebody is, say, splitting their refeed across a few days, say Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, then maybe they will have a more protein, green, veg-based meal earlier in the day on Friday, have their refeed on Friday evening, but then they might be too full still on Saturday and just focus maybe on a bone broth fast or a water and tea fast or something until their next refeed on Saturday evening. And then the same on Sunday, still too full from your meal on Saturday. Maybe you will sleep a bit longer through your fast, because that'll help your body just break down and digest whatever is laying around in your gut, and then do your clean water or tea fast and your bone broth fast, and then your next refeed meal on Sunday. Now that's just an example, so you could be going out Monday night to a meal, or Wednesday and Saturday, and then you would split it up and have your refeed meal on Monday, Wednesday and Saturday. But throughout the rest of the week, you're trying to mitigate any damage that may be done from toxins or inflammation or fluid retention or anything like that. So during the week, if you knew that you were having a refeed on Monday, Wednesday, and Saturday, then maybe you're avoiding starches and other inflammatory foods on the other days, practicing more fasting, more bone broth, more nutrient-dense foods, and like I said, less inflammatory, bloating types of foods. That's the way I would go about it. And back to that Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So if you're a client of mine and you've had those 3 refeeds, then maybe on the Monday, if you had nothing going on, you would just do a fast for the full day that day on Monday. So I think Christmas falls on a Wednesday this year. So if we look at that week just before Christmas, if you were eating out on Friday, Saturday and Sunday, family events, Christmas parties, whatever it is, then Monday you would just fast from Sunday evening, your last calorie consumption on Sunday evening, right through until Tuesday morning, which would be Christmas Eve. So you've done either a clean fast or a dirty fast or a bone broth fast or something on the Monday, and then Tuesday, Christmas Eve, that you know that you're doing your best. You're mitigating stuff the best you can. You're keeping your health and weight goals in mind, and you're using these tools that you have, and that's what they are. They're tools. So fasting is not about starving yourself. Leaving out starches is not about starving yourself or depriving yourself. It's about stacking conditions in your favor. It's about giving your body a break to metabolize foods, to bring down inflammation, to focus on healing. It's about when you do, say, a bone broth fast, you're focused on that healing, very nutrient dense aspect of it, while giving your gut and your body a break from what happens when we do eat a lot of food. And people forget that when we eat, eating in itself is a stressor on the body. Eating in itself drives down all the other functions in the body, as in the healing and reparative functions, and it drives up inflammation and cortisol in the body, because that eating is a stress in itself, and especially stressful to the gut, because the gut is doing all the work there. So we can use fasting to help with supporting our gut, bringing down the inflammation, making sure that when we do eat, our body is in a state that it's going to uptake the nutrients a lot more effectively, because we've been in a fasted state for so long. So you can use these tools, as well as you can support your digestion, so you're breaking down the foods that you do eat a lot better over the Christmas. And I will say, a lot of the time, over the holidays, the foods are not necessarily bad. They're very nutrient dense foods. You've got sweet potatoes, you've got homemade potatoes, you've got your meats, your turkey, your ham, your beef, probably some chicken depending on who you are. You got a lot of greens. We generally see a lot of greens at Christmas. So your Brussels sprouts, your broccoli, your green beans. We also see people, I've seen becoming popular, is people adding big salads into their dinner meals and their Christmas lunches. And then you have, when we look at, if you're making homemade cranberry sauce, which is going to be awesome for you to make it homemade, especially with what we have now. So you get yourself of organic fresh cranberries from like Sobeys. They're like $3. You add in some Swerve for the sweetener. You make your own cranberry. So that cranberry is going to have those beneficial modbiotics as well to support your gut bacteria during this time. Also the bitterness of the cranberries, even if you munch on some raw cranberries or like fresh cranberries before dinner, before your Christmas lunch, that bitter tart component of the cranberries is going to stimulate the pancreas and the stomach and say, let's get ready, there's some food coming in here. So you start producing more digestive enzymes, you start producing more stomach acid, your bile production increases, so that when you do eat the food, you're digesting it a lot more, as well as you're getting those polyphenols off the cranberries that are going to support your gut bacteria and keep them healthy and strong over the holidays too. And you can do that with like raspberries and blueberries too, as long as they're super tart and pungent, and pomegranate. It's the season for pomegranate, so you can have some of that as like an aperitif before your dinner. You can even do like warm water and lemon juice. You can do a shot of apple cider vinegar, another great tool for stimulating the digestive system and the vagus nerve. The vagus nerve is very important. It helps with the digestion, but it helps keep you in a calm state while you are eating. You can do some bone broth. You could do like some sort of French onion soup or dip. So something that's warming, a little bit sour, a little bit tart, bitter, that's going to stimulate digestion, that's going to signal the vagus nerve and say, hey, let's get all these enzymes and bile and acids flowing. So that's a super helpful tool. And apple cider vinegar is very beneficial in that it also helps us metabolize sugars a lot better and helps with insulin resistance. That's very helpful to remember over the holidays with all this extra food. And like I said, it's not necessarily bad food because we're usually eating homemade foods over the holidays, and there will be one or two bad things, I'm sure, but it's usually pretty wholesome homemade food, and you just want to make sure that you're digesting it properly and making the best choices where you can, using any tools that you've learned from me or another health coach or anything like that. And then you can use some other stuff. You can use some other tools as well. Berberine being one of my favorite, and then bitter melon extract. So those two are very effective for helping us metabolize sugars, keeping the gut functioning properly, keeping the gut healthy, and they do help with fat burning as well. So you can use those supplements. You can also use a good cinnamon pill as well to help you with metabolizing the sugars, keeping your blood sugars in line, keeping your insulin where you want it to be, because they're very important. It's the insulin that's going to cause the problems with the weight gain and having us feel pretty much shit over the holidays. So you can use tools like that. Lots and lots of water where you can, especially mineralized water. You want to keep hydrated, especially if you're having extra alcohols. Alcohol can act as a diuretic. Also, it can cause the liver to downregulate while the liver focuses on just getting the alcohol or the toxins and the chemicals out of your body. So having your mineral water, having some water with warm lemon juice, some warm water with lemon juice, having some water with sea salt is going to be very helpful. It'll support the tissues for hydration. It'll also support the liver. And you can use herbal teas here too. If you know you're going to have a lot of alcohol over the holidays, and I don't mean you're getting hammered each day. I mean, if you're having like 2 drinks a couple of days in a row, that would be considered a lot of alcohol, and that will be stressful on the liver and the kidneys, and even the pancreas. So you want to support your liver and your kidneys and all there. Again, you got those bitters, the sour tart foods, your polyphenols, but then your herbal teas. You could be looking at a pure cranberry tea, your dandelion tea, your milk thistle, going to be very helpful. Peppermint tea is going to be awesome. So instead of a coffee after dinner, which you shouldn't be doing in any way, you can use a peppermint tea, and you can even use peppermint tea before a meal. You can use decaffeinated coffee before a meal too, because coffee has been shown to stimulate bile flow too. Okay, we're going to wrap this up now. So you got a lot of tools there for strategies you can use: splitting refeeds up, using fasting, supporting the digestive aspect, staying hydrated, using your herbal teas where you can. But also, I do want you to enjoy the holidays. I know people are. We live in stressful times. We do. So when events like this comes up, I really want my clients to enjoy the time. I want to enjoy the time myself. But again, I don't want to forget my health and my goals. I do not want to make myself sick. I don't want to undo my hard work. So I'm picking and choosing my battles, but I'm also using these aids as well, like the berberine, the bitter melon, the cinnamon, the herbal teas, the bitters. But also, we can use a few other things. If you know you're going to have a lot of alcohol, like I said, you would want to be getting in a nice dose of vitamin C just to support the antioxidant systems and the glutathione production in the body. So at least 1,000 milligrams a day across Christmas is going to be beneficial for you. At the end of the day, it is going to be wise for you before bed to take 2 activated charcoal pills. If you're going out for like a Christmas party and you know there's going to be a lot of drinks, you would take 2 activated charcoal pills before the Christmas party with like a pint of water, which is 500 mils, and then 2 after, so just before bed. And then anyone else who's maybe just having 1 or 2 drinks, you could just do 2 pills in the evening, either before or after the drinks. So not necessarily before bed. As well, you have to remember that activated charcoal will bind to supplements and medications. So you want to space them apart. You want an hour on either side. So if you're taking apple activated charcoal, let's say 6 p.m. in the evening, you don't want to take supplements anytime after 5 p.m. or anytime before 7 p.m. So an hour on either side of that 6 p.m., that time that you take your activated charcoal. Activated charcoal can be dehydrating to the body. So make sure lots and lots and lots of water. Lots. So if you're drinking the alcohol, it is a diuretic in itself. And then you're taking the activated charcoal, that can be dehydrating because it binds to chemicals and helps flush them out of your body. So lots and lots of water there. And really, what else would we do? You could do some N-acetylcysteine as well. I'll do that sometimes to support the antioxidant system and help with the processing of chemicals and protecting my cells. And that one other thing you can do, if you know, and hopefully nobody is getting exposed to vegetable oils, I would hope that people are cooking with like at least butter, like real butter over Christmas. But you never know when you go to relatives or when you go out to restaurant, chances are even the highest end restaurants are using some sort of vegetable or canola oil. So one way you can protect yourself from canola oil, and this has been shown to be effective, is take some spirulina. So you can either swirl some spirulina in water before you go out, take some spirulina pills, or you can get little tablets of spirulina. So spirulina is an algae, and it's been shown to help protect the body against the damaging effects of canola oil. And also you can take some bone broth or gelatin, or order that as your aperitif before a meal. Or even bring some with you if you're going to a relative's. So bone broth has been shown to be protective against vegetable oils damaging effects too. So they're like really simple things that you can do. Make sure that you're getting plenty of sleep. Make sure that on days that it's not -1,000,000, you're getting out and you're getting exposure to direct sunlight and fresh air. So they're so important, especially in the mornings. So if you have a lot of time off over the Christmas from work and kids being off school, and you know you're going to be having heavier meals later in the day, then I would plan those fasted early morning walks. Fresh air, sunshine, fasted state, 40 to 60 minutes. And like all of this in combination, everything I've said in this podcast is literally stacking conditions in your favor. Have a plan. Say, okay, I'm going to enjoy myself from December. Like, I'm really going to enjoy Christmas from December 21st right up until January 2nd, the day after New Year's, and then I'm going to get myself back on track. And during that time frame, so this is assuming you don't have anything before that time frame, from the 21st to the 2nd, you're utilizing all the tools that are in this podcast too, and just remembering your goals, what you really want for yourself and why. So I hope you found that super helpful. I'll probably do another podcast over the next week or two, just supporting you a bit more over Christmas. If you have any questions regarding this podcast, any of the hacks that I've given you, you need any advice about Christmas, don't be afraid to reach out to me. You can email me through my website at shamainsmodelhealth.com, or you can find me on Facebook and Instagram at Shamainsmodelhealth. Model Health. But otherwise, I hope you all have a lovely season. Stay safe, stay warm, enjoy yourself, and then get ready to get back on track with your health goals for 2020. Okay, bye-bye, have a great week, and we'll chat soon.